be yourself. That's one thing I can just tell you is just be yourself, because people are going to love you for who you are and not what you're trying to be or, trying to portray to be somebody else. They want you to be you.
What is up, Impact Heroes? Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Rick Ornelas. Thank you for spending some time with us today, because we know time's a valuable resource and we're going to make it worth your while. I appreciate each and every one of you, not just for listening, but for who you are. I know you're sparking change to make the world a better place every day, and I am humbled and grateful for your efforts. It takes all of us doing our part to spread positive change, and that's what this show is all about. Motivating you with stories of struggle, courage, and hope to empower you to make a difference in your life and the lives of others.
Are you interested in having Rick speak at your event or business? Here is what others have to say.
Did not know his story, and it was so inspirational, and his presence on stage, his authenticity was just incredible.
I absolutely loved his performance. It made me feel some type of way.
If you're looking for a speaker for your next event, hire Rick. I promise you this, you will not be disappointed.
Visit rickornelas.com to book him today.
Welcome back, Impact Heroes. Today we begin a new chapter for the I Spark Change podcast as we kick off season 2. We're changing things up this season with a whole new approach to our social impact heroes and spotlights. Some listeners have commented that they like the variety of guests we have because we show how they spark change in different ways. So we're launching a new segment called I Spark Change Through, and we'll fill in the blank for you. So on these episodes, you'll meet guests from all different areas of life and business. You'll see how they spark change in their corner of society and the world. So for our first guest of the season, I wanted someone extra special, someone who exemplifies all that I Spark Change Impact Hero is and can be. Someone who shows that you can have an impact on others and spread positive change in many ways each day. So our guest today is a wife, a mother, a fitness instructor, and a friend to all. She lights up any room that she enters and is instantly the life of whatever party she's at. She has a radiance and beauty that embodies a unique combination of energy, motivation, inspiration, and passion. She's strong both physically and emotionally in a way that is approachable and caring. She's a humble and encouraging leader who genuinely wants to help others by empowering them with her inner confidence that radiates to anyone she encounters. She is devoted, selfless, and fun with everyone that is a part of her life, which makes it almost impossible to be in a bad mood when you're with her. She's a joy to be around and a blessing to myself and many others. Please welcome the woman who made me the luckiest man in the world when she became my wife, Tonya Ornelas, here live for this interview. And there she is. She's live.
Hello.
She is live. So I'm excited to have her here in the quote unquote studio for the interview.
Our studio,
also known as my office. So I have to tell you, I have to ask first off, I know you were very nervous to do this.
Yes.
To do this interview. She's very nervous. Let me see. Are you shaking?
I don't do well.
Are you shaking? No, you're not shaking. So that's a start. You're not shaking. Okay. So tell me, how did that intro make you feel?
That intro actually made me feel very warm and fuzzy inside. I was really wanted to cry, actually, because I don't think of myself that way. It's just all comes so natural to me to be the person that I am. I am very loving and caring towards everybody that I meet, and I try and find the best in everybody. So for you saying that, I mean, you know me best out of anybody. So it was nice. I really loved it.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad that it made you feel well. And I have to say, so that some of that intro came from me, but a lot of that intro came from what others have said about you. You know, others that have shared in messages, and others that have commented about you in cards and Christmas cards, and and things like that. And so, I know sometimes it's hard to hear or believe, certain things about ourselves. But when they come from others, then, that that's the image that you're portraying to the world. And so it's just a reflection on who you are.
Right.
And so, on that note, with all those things being said, that were in that interview, having you on the show is something that's really special for me, because when I came up with the idea for iSpark Change a couple years ago, I always envisioned all different types of people being a part of iSpark Change, all different types of people being in the community, and us showing different ways that people can spark change. And you were always someone that embodied sparking change for me, just because of the way, that you are as a quote unquote impact hero. So I asked you the question that we ask, all guests that we have on the show. Do you consider yourself a hero?
Well, not to brag on myself. Yes, I do. I really do.
So how so? How do you consider yourself?
It's taken me a long time to really discover who I am. And when I found my passion in fitness, it really touched me. And so I feel working with people, helping them better themselves and making that change to the more positive image, not only on the outside, but how they feel on the inside, and being part of that and encouraging people has just been a thing for me. And when I see changes happen and the compliments start coming in, then I feel like somebody. And it's taken me a long time to really discover that, because I really never felt like I was anybody before that, but it's come to light.
And I'm glad that, you're starting to see that, because that's one of the things that I've always enjoyed about coaching others, is that when you start to see the fruits of your labor, if you will, that you start to see those changes in them, and you start to see them having wins and progressing and all that, you're like, hey, I had a part in that. They maybe they wouldn't have gotten there on their own, but
right.
but with my help, that they've gotten there. And so, I've seen that through my coaching. And so, I'm glad that I know you see it in your coaching, but I'm glad that you're, realizing the heroic nature of that.
And with my business growing and having a lot more followers, it's really showing. And I'm seeing a huge difference in a lot of people. So it's nice.
It's rewarding. So
very rewarding. That's a good word.
So you mentioned a minute ago about why you got started in fitness. So I'd like you to take the audience back to to that beginning, right? To that beginning, to your origin story of how obviously I know the story, but how did you start your fitness journey? Because when we met nearly 30 years ago, you were in great shape, you were healthy and everything, but you weren't. You were young. We were young. But you weren't like, it's not like you were working out all the time, or the fitness was a big
Correct.
part of your life, right? And that came later. So share with the audience, how that journey started to becoming a fitness coach and to coaching others and helping others.
Wow. So this goes way back when we, when we first lived in California. So when I was pregnant with our first child, with Ciara, I was working out at the YMCA in Santa Maria, and I was always shy growing up. I never wanted to be the center of attention. I always just wanted to be in the back row, behind the scenes. And so I would go to the gym, and I would walk in the room, in the aerobic room, and I would just hop on the first little machine that I saw in the back row, and I would just do my thing. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want anybody to see me. And I did that for a while. And I think towards the end of my pregnancy, the fitness director, Lisa Niedrower, back in the day, that's 26 years ago, she approached me one day and says, "Hey, I see you here all the time." She asked me, "Would you be interested in working here?" And I said, no, I would not. I'm very shy and I just want to come in and do what I want to do. And that was it. So she left me alone for a little bit. And she approached me again and asked me if I would co-teach a spin class with her. I was almost 9 months pregnant at this point, so I wasn't sure what I really wanted to do. So I said, hey, why not? And so she took me in and set up a bike next to her one morning, and I co-taught a spin class with her, pregnant, and it's hilarious, but it was interesting, and I wasn't sure if I really enjoyed it, but she actually grew on me, and she made me feel so good and made me feel so empowering at that moment that I went back and we chatted, and she actually just hired me to work as, a trainer there in the aerobic room or in the cardio room, just working with new members and introducing the equipment to them and that sort of thing. And then one thing led to another. I started teaching classes, and she got me out of my shell. And so I went from being in the back row to being front and center. And I think it was just her pulling that confidence out of me at that time, because I was not very confident, not confident within myself, and not confident enough to be in the front and actually leading a class of, 20 women. So that was my starting point. And from there on out, I fell in love with fitness, and it's just been my passion for the past 26 years, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and you even went, so I remember early days. So I was just wondering, because I would take your class occasionally. I'd take the spin class.
Oh, the spin class, yes.
I'd take like the Friday morning spin class, but it was spin, and then you were teaching different classes.
Body sculpting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're teaching all sorts of different classes, I remember, and you still do, like a boot camp. And I remember you when you're doing like the hip hop abs and the hip hop abs,
was entertaining,
and all sorts of different classes. It's so fun. I never took that one. I didn't want to make a fool of myself.
I had to watch a lot of videos to get that down.
Dancing, but different classes over the years. But I think the one, I think the one constant that at least I've seen is that the people that have taken your classes have always loved you. That there's always been, that they've always loved your teaching. They've loved your energy, positivity, some of the things that I talked about in your introduction, and that they've, that it's just not the same when you're not there. Like either if you were gone on vacation, or, like when you've left and gone from one gym to another, which has happened, we've moved,
many times.
We've had, just for distance and different things have changed, and that's happened lots of times. And that every time people find you, right? They find you and they come back. They follow you. Yeah, that they'll follow you. And so I think that's a perfect example of, that sparking change, that positivity, that light that you provide for other people that they want a part of, right? That they don't want that to be missing in their lives.
And it's funny because even moving, here to Texas from California back, from 2009, I still get messages from people back that I used to teach back in California at the YMCA, just telling me how much they miss me and how much they miss my classes. Because I share a lot on social media about my classes to grow my business. And I do get those messages. So it feels really good to know that I'm being missed and that I actually made an impact on people's lives.
Yeah. And
so it's...
I know, you share some of those things, some of those messages and everything about, someone was that they have been following you and that they got inspired just from a distance, just even from a distance, that they got inspired to get back in shape after, they haven't. And I'm sure, with this being the start of a new year, that you're going to have a flood of DMs from people that want to, that want to get back in shape and they want your advice, or they
and I'm
want
ready.
some tips. Yeah, which is fantastic. So, as we talk about, an impact hero, part of being a hero is that acronym that we talk about of a hero that a hero honors their purpose. And I think you honor your purpose by the fact that you've found your calling, that you found your passion, and you found what you really enjoy in life.
Right.
And so what advice would you give to others? Because you kind of found it. I'd say someone really helped you find it, and Lisa back then. And, even early on, right, in your first pregnancy, right, fitness wasn't a part. You'd put on a bunch of weight and everything. And
over 200 pounds. Yes.
Well, not put on 200, but she weighed over.
I weighed over 200.
She didn't put on 200 pounds. Oh my gosh, that'd be a massive baby. That'd be like the world's biggest baby. You put on 200 pounds. We had a 90-pound baby. No, you put on 50 pounds and was weighed over 200.
Put me over 200
Put you over 200 pounds. That's too funny. Yeah. But there's a lot of people that listen. They listen for inspiration. They listen for motivation. That they're trying to find that purpose or create that purpose in their lives. As we say, they're trying to see what their passion is. So what advice would you give to people that don't know what their passion is yet, and that are trying different things and experimenting and seeing what they're passionate about? What advice would you give them?
I would say just to keep following your path. Try new things and find out if, what's really going to connect with you. You're just going to go down. You're going to try, but there's going to be that one thing that's really going to trigger you and really going to hit you and really connect to your heart. And that's, for me, was the fitness industry. And I just say, go for it. Just dive in and go for it. Don't be afraid to take the chance.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part is don't be afraid. Mm-hmm. And I know
I was fearful many years.
Yeah, and that's what I want to. That's exactly what I wanted to bring up, is because fear holds many people back from taking action, and not just in that purpose realm or in finding purpose, but just from doing anything, right? From going up and introducing themselves to someone, or meeting, or talking to someone that could be that they're interested in, right? That could, for a relationship, or applying for that job that they think they're not good enough to get, they're not qualified for, or whatever. So, talk about how fear has impacted you in different ways, and how you've had to overcome fear, and even still,
I'm still fearful of a lot of things. I mean, when Rick told me he wanted to interview me, I was like, because I don't do well speaking. I mean, I'm doing the best I can today, but I'm not. I don't like to speak. I don't. But it's fun. I mean, we all make mistakes. We're all human. And it's, I still do have that fear. I have fear of doing a lot of things. I still have fear of teaching classes, wondering if it's going to be good for everybody. Because I'm a people pleaser and I want everybody to be happy. And Rick's taught me a lot about that. And I can't please everybody. So I just do my best and try and, open up and just let everybody know, hey, this is what it is and this is how it's going to be. You can join or you cannot, but I cannot cater to every single person. And I have to really remember that, because that's one thing that's very difficult for me.
And so would you say that is a way that fear manifested itself for you, is that you would, not take action because you were afraid, I'm going to disappoint someone?
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. And so touch on that vulnerability piece for the audience, because, I've seen you become more and more vulnerable. And one of the things that I think really connects you with people, and why people like your classes, and why you really resonate with a lot of people, is that you are real, that you're not fake, that you're yourself in class, whether, you're going to be silly in class, or, or burp in the middle of teaching class or something like that, or whatever, or worse. But I think that's what people, because you're not afraid to quote unquote be yourself, right? You're not afraid to be your authentic self. And so many people, and I'm sure a lot of you, and us included, are fearful of being authentic, are fearful of being vulnerable, are fearful of the judgment. So talk about how you've dealt with that judgment, being a people pleaser, quote unquote people pleaser. Talk about how you've dealt with that, feeling of being judged.
Well, for me, I was always one that would always compare myself to others. I was one of those that went on social media and I'd see all these fitness girls and, thinking they were so perfect and their life was perfect and their pages were perfect. And I had to be like that. And for me, that was hard because then I would go into my class and I'm like, oh, I got to be like so-and-so. I have to do this and I have to do that right. Because we would share videos and things and learn, from other instructors. And I always felt like I had to be way up here for them. And in reality, I didn't. I mean, I'm me, I am who I am. And like Rick said, yeah, I do belch, I do pass gas in class, but we laugh. And, now a lot of my classmates do the same thing. They're like, oh, I'm so gassy today. And I'm like, awesome, let's do it together. And it's fun and we enjoy it. I mean, we bust our ass and we work hard, but we have a great time doing it. So just be yourself. That's one thing I can just tell you is just be yourself because people are going to love you for who you are and not what you're trying to be or, trying to portray to be somebody else. They want you to be you and to be real. It's all about being real.
Yeah. And that's those.
And I can get choked up on that because I've always been one of those that's, I have to be better than everybody else, or I have to be this, or I have to be that. But no, it's not about that. It's about being you.
Yeah.
And that's who they fall in love with.
Yeah, and I was just about to say that's some wise words right there, because anyone can take that advice in any situation, whether you're teaching a class or you're just going to work or you're, in school or whatever, aspect of life you're in. The one that people are going to like, the one that people are going to connect with is yourself. It's not anyone else. And, there's something like a 400 trillion, the probability of each person coming into existence is something like 400 trillion to 1 or something like that each of us was even born and that we're even alive. So there's no one else that has ever been on this earth like you, and there never will be. By those odds, there never will be. Even identical twins are completely different. And with that being said, that's what people want to see. They want to see the genuine you, the authentic you. They don't want to see some manufactured Instagram version or, some made up version, because that's just not who we are. That's not who God created.
So I never try and be better than anybody else. I'm equal with everybody in my classes.
Yeah. And I know they appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, in being a hero, I know that engages the audience in your mission. And I know you engage people in your classes and everything. And by virtue of sharing things on social media, you share things so others really understand what you're all about and how they can connect with you and everything. But when you first, when I've asked you about, stepping outside the class to share things on a bigger scale and everything, it's always been something that, you've been real hesitant to do and everything. And so what is it that scares you about stepping outside because you're so comfortable, like you say, you don't like to speak, right? But you're so comfortable speaking in front of your classes and speaking in front of, other groups and everything. So what would you say scares you about that, doing something on a bigger scale?
So in that sense, for me, it is that fear of perfectionism. I feel like it's got to be, it has to be done perfect. It's got to be done right. I can't make any mistakes. I can't. And it's like double standard here because I'm telling you to do all this stuff. And yet for me, I still have that little window of fear is still there. And I need to break through that and try and, break through that and just go for it. So I'm still learning. I am still learning. I've been doing this for a long time, but I'm still learning. And I know you've been trying to help me with that. And I have put up my wall at times. And I think I have to just go for it without any questions. I mean, with help, I will do it. With his help, I will do it.
or yeah, and others.
Because it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot for me because like I was saying, I want everything to be done right, and I want it to be easy for people to understand and to follow. So I don't want anything to be complicated.
One thing that stands out about what you were just saying is it's not the perfection part. It's not the fear part. It's that you said that you're still learning. And so even after doing this for, over 25 years or, being a coach and then training everything, is that you understand that you're still on that journey, that you're still learning, and then you never quite get there. Right.
Yeah.
And so what would you say are some of the biggest things you've learned as a coach, in fitness, over the years? What have been some of the biggest things that you've learned?
That's a good question. I've learned quite a bit from being that shy person to being who I am today. I've learned to really just open myself up to people and to be accepting of everybody. When before I would just be very hesitant in who I would bring into my life, and it would just be really small. But now I open my heart to everybody, and I want to be accepting to everybody. And life's hard sometimes, but I have learned a lot. I mean, you put me on the spot here, and it's just, I have a million things I can probably say, but I don't know. You stumped me right there.
Well, I'd say one.
And you can probably name a million things.
One thing that stands out is that, I think you've probably learned the different ways that you've impacted others in some of the transformations that you've seen in others, because I know you've shared, transformations from different people that you've seen over the years and everything. So share, and you don't have to give names, for their privacy, but share some of the ways that you've seen people transform as a result of, being coached by you, and, whether it's in their fitness or whether it's in other parts of their life, but some of the different ways that you've seen people transform.
I've had several ladies who've had just incredible transformations. What I've incorporated the past few months is doing like 8-week or 12-week challenges in addition to our regular boot camp workouts that I do. So I had, maybe 15, 16 ladies that joined a challenge I did, a 12-week challenge that I did a couple months ago, and it was a glute challenge. So it was a lot of heavy lifting, and it was pretty challenging for a lot of them, but man, we busted ass. I mean, we went in early and we did it. Everybody was encouraging. We were motivating each other. And fast forward at the end of the 12 weeks, we were doing measurements every week and weigh-ins. And I had one girl that was, she took her nutrition to a whole nother level. I don't do nutrition. I do a lot, more the fitness side of things. But she lost 60 pounds, and she is just little itty bitty thing now. And just to see that transformation from her picture in the beginning to her photos now is just unbelievable. And then I had another lady who just really lost a lot of weight and toned herself up for her 50th birthday. She was going to New York and really wanted to be a new person when she went, and she did it. She did what she had to do. And, we all encouraged her and motivated her, and we keep each other accountable. If you don't show up one morning, we are on that phone calling. Where are you? Why aren't you here? We text each other in the morning at 4:00 and say, get your butt to the gym, let's go.
They're starting at 4. They're not waking up at 4. They're starting at 4.
Yeah, so I make sure everybody's there and that they're accountable, because we all have our goals, our short-term goals. And, when we write those goals, I want to make sure that they achieve those goals, and that, we share them amongst each other. So we motivate and really help them achieve, those goals that they are striving for.
Yeah. And I'd say just that, speaking of some of those examples you've given, I mean, part of what you've shared with me is some of the additional transformations that they've seen. Like, if I remember correctly, the person that was going to New York, that she was saying how it's improved like her relationship,
Yes,
and everything, and that she's
her relationship with her husband has lots of fireworks there. So that was really cute. She's just like, everything we've done here, everything you've done for me, you've really improved, my relationship with my husband, and, he thinks I'm sexier now. And it's a beautiful thing. It really is. At the age of 50, I'm 50 and we have a great relationship, and I love to feel, attractive to my husband. And I know it's a thing we like to do. So it's hard work, and it's, but you put it in and it's going to happen.
Yeah. And I'd say another one that comes to mind transformation wise is the self-confidence. The changes in confidence in so many, and not just in like that recent challenge, but because you've done a few lately, but just going back, over the years of just the self-confidence that your work with people has increased is crazy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you see them coming in with the frumpy big t-shirts and stuff, and now it's like, oh, they're wearing sports bras to the gym, or they're wearing, their tight leggings now rather than their baggy pants and big shirts. And, it's nice to see that they're feeling so good about themselves and, feeling that confidence, and they're sticking with it. And that's another big thing, because it's so easy to fall off the wagon and not continue. Having that a core group really helps. Yeah.
So touch a little bit on accountability, and having that group, having that circle, that team, if you will, but that group of accountability, because I talk about that in my coaching that I do, and we have the level up membership that actually will start the day that this episode airs, but on January 4th. But that so many people, they don't have a group of people around them to support them. A lot of people have negative influences in their lives. They have family members that bring them down. They have close people that they're close with that bring them down, that are always negative, that are always, providing like a toxic environment for them. And, it's part of the reason why we have the level up membership, is because you want to provide an environment where people can have that safe place, that positive place, that encouraging place, that place where people are going to hold you accountable, where people are going to support you and, not judge you, and are going to be there in your corner. So talk about how, you talked about it a little bit already, right? About how but talk about the importance, that you've seen as a coach of having that core group and that accountability, and how it's, improved all of you.
I think it's super important. When I first started this group, when I first started my 5 a.m. group a couple of years ago, I started with like 4 or 5 girls, and I'm up to like 23 now within a year. And what I've done is
and at 4 a.m. and 5 a.m.
And 4 a.m. 5 a.m.
Not just 5 a.m.
So what I've done is I started a group text thread. It's called my Rooster Crew. And, when I have new members come in, I say, hey, I've got this group text. It's for all of my early morning members. And what we do is it's an accountability for everybody. If you want to join, I will add you to our group. If you don't, that's fine. And they're like, heck yeah, add me. Make sure I'm getting to the gym every morning. You can text me the night before, you can text me in the morning, you can be my alarm clock in the morning. And I'm like, that's exactly what we're here for. So what I've done is I would send that group, I'd get up in the morning, I'll send a message in that text and be like, wakey, wake up, let's go. Get up, get moving. I'll see you in 20 minutes, because we all live fairly close. And so with that, then I'll start getting the likes and the hearts, and I'm on my way, or, oh, thank you for waking me up. I hit snooze 2 times already. I wasn't sure if I wanted to get up. And I'm like, well, get your ass up. Let's go. We got to get moving. So it's that type of thing that keeps people accountable. And once you start getting into that routine, it's like, then they're calling me, they're like, we're still going at 4 o'clock, right? Because it's break right now for, kids are out of school. So I'm like, you guys can sleep in if you want. We can go in like 4:30 or 5. And they're like, no, we want to go at 4. I'm like, oh gosh. Okay. So, we're empty nesters. We don't have kids anymore. So I love to sleep in sometimes, but yeah, they still want to go. And it's great. It really is, to see that they are in that routine now and they're getting up early and they still want to do it. And it's just so awesome. It really is.
And I think that's an example of, the R of a hero is rippling your message to spread positive change, because now that ripple effect, it's led to their behavior changing and their behavior impacting others. And it's like the circle that keeps going round and round. And so it continues to support one another and lift one another up, which is what that type of community does. And it's super important. And I've seen it with your group. And, I know if for our listeners, right, if you're looking for some support, if you're looking for somewhere that you can't find on your own, that you don't have with your friends, you don't have with your family, then that's why we have that Level Up membership. So you can check it out. It'll be in the show notes. You can definitely check that out.
Find an accountability partner.
Yeah, find an accountability partner.
Absolutely worth it.
Yeah, have someone that is going to hold your hand along that journey. And so you don't have to go it alone, because we're, our species, we weren't meant to go through life alone. No, we're a tribal species. We're meant to be part of a group and, to have relationships and help one another and hold one another accountable. And so that's a perfect example of what you're doing. So what our goal at iSpark Change, as you're well aware, is to positively impact 1 billion people in the next 5 years through our community and through our work. And we know we can't do that alone, which is why we have impactful heroes like yourself that are doing work out there in the community to help spread positive change and have an impact. So on that note, I know you said you were scared to answer this question, but on that note, we asked this question of all impact heroes and that we have on the show, that spark change like you have, is that what can the world become if everyone starts believing that they can positively impact the world and have an impact on others like you have done? What can the world become?
The world can become a very, very happy place. There's so much negativity out there right now that it's just hard to go through, throughout your day without seeing it. I mean, it's on the news, it's all over the place. So, I mean, for me, it's anytime I see somebody come to the gym, I'm always either saying a compliment or I'm smiling at them or I'm saying hello or good morning. And you just never know what somebody's going through the minute, they walk right past you. So always make sure you do compliment people. Just one compliment their shirt, compliment their shoes or their hair or their smile, something to make them feel warm and fuzzy inside, because I think it's super important. I mean, there's times where I'll go in and I'll have a bad day and my boss knows instantly. She's like, what's going on? And I'm like, just all over my face. So I really try and put things on the back burner that, really affect me negatively and just try and, bring out my happy self on the forefront. So I don't drag anybody else down or, make things worse for somebody else. So for me, it's just a smile and a compliment a day for anybody that I see. And I think if everybody does that, it would be an incredible place.
Yeah, what a beautiful world that would be. And, and hopefully that, by virtue of the impact that you're having, that the people lives you touch, that they are starting to act in that same way, that you're having that ripple effect, you're rubbing off on them, you're engaging them in your mission, and they're, they're going about and doing the same thing.
Oh yeah, because people ask me all the time, why are you so happy at 4 a.m? That's just me. That's my nature. That's my personality. So I like to rub that off on other people and make sure that they feel the same way.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that, because what a beautiful world that would be.
Yes.
So I know the audience will want to learn more about you or check out, some of your fitness stuff online. So how can they connect with you? Where can they follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram. I am, fit mom of 3 girls.
Yes.
I don't even know
Fit mom of 3 girls.
Fit mom of 3 girls. That's my fitness page. And then I also have my personal page, which is just family and stuff. But
yeah, and that's FITMOMOF3 GIRLZ.
That's me.
Yeah.
So you'll see all my fitness videos on there and demos and things. And I always video record my classes, and I mean they're just fun. They don't mind. They love it, and it's good to go back and see where they started 6 months ago to where they are today. And they're like, oh gosh, I was so fat back then. Oh God, look how strong I am. I started out at, 5 pounds and now I'm lifting 30. And so it's cool. It's cool to see that. And they're so excited.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I'm sure some of our followers will check, our listeners will check that out. The Mama 3 Girls with a 3 and a Z.
Yeah, you can check out mine and Rick's new acro stuff we're doing too.
God bless that. Yeah, that's some practice. We're working on some stuff.
You definitely have to go follow and check it out now. We've really improved a lot of what we've done.
You'll get some humor out of that. Well, yeah, you guys can all check that out. Well, thank you for taking your time today, Tonya. I hope this wasn't too scary or awful to be interviewed by your husband.
Well, now I can go eat because I was so nervous I wasn't eating.
on an international podcast, but you came in and you over-delivered as I knew you would. Your compassion, support, and positive energy are truly infectious. You are non-judgmental, you're humble, and you lead with a heart of service and gratitude, which tells me that this is only the beginning for your journey, as an iSpark Change impact hero. And I know you're going to continue to affect many, many more people moving forward.
As long as I'm alive, I'm going.
As long as you're alive, I'm going. That's kind of what I say about iSpark Change. So remember, Impact Heroes, it's our stories that connect us all. We loved hearing Tonya's today. Tonya Ornelas, you're not only an inspiring and amazing human being, and you do spark change every day through your coaching. So I spark change through, Tonya sparks change through her coaching and her health and wellness and fitness, and you're definitely an iSpark Change impact hero. So thank you for being on the show, and we'll see you all next time.
Can I kiss you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
See you all next time.
Remember, Impact Heroes, every positive action can be a spark moment that has a ripple effect that spreads far beyond the initial act. So go out there and spark change. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this episode, then please smash that 5-star rating on iTunes or Spotify and leave a review. We value your comments and we want to hear from you in the community. Thank you for listening. God bless you, and we'll see you next week on the iSpark Change podcast.